What's up, everyone? My name is Sam. Thanks so much for joining my YouTube channel today. Today's practice is focused on balance and growth. So we're going to be incorporating a few beginner to intermediate balancing poses, including tree pose, crow pose practice, warrior three, and assisted and unassisted side planks. So if you want to bring a mantra to today's practice, it could be something like, I approach self-care with compassionate self-awareness, or I approach my needs with compassionate self-awareness, or I embrace balance with intention and grace. Whatever mantra you bring to the practice, we'll get started in a comfortable cross-legged seat. Feel free to bring a pillow or anything to put under your hips to get started, and I will meet you there. Today's practice is going to be themed around balance and growth, whatever that means to you. We are going to incorporate a lot of balancing poses, a lot of poses that challenge the balance. So you might mentally prepare for that by dropping in, settling the mind, checking in with the physical, intellectual, emotional, and spiritual bodies. Noticing what's knocking you off balance this week, if anything. Connecting to the breath. Starting to make your journey back to the self, back to better balance. Right away, settling in and quieting the mind. If you need a mantra for today's practice, it might be something like, I honor my needs with compassionate self-awareness, or I embrace balance with intention and grace. We're also going to be starting to shift the mindset toward looking for opportunities for growth. So we're going to challenge the body and the mind today with some balancing poses. Just notice what comes up when you approach a pose that's difficult for you. Try to look for opportunities for growth. Settling into your natural breathing rhythm, finding stillness in the mind. We're going to start to incorporate movement by doing a little eagle arms practice. So typically we might do a self-embrace at this point to stretch through the upper back and feel the warmth of your hands. Today we're going to take a bind in the arms instead. We're going to start by bringing the palms together in front of the heart space, elbows at full extension, fingertips pointed toward me. Move the palms away from one another and then toward one another behind the back, just checking in with what you feel, maybe what you hear. Bring the palms back toward one another in front of the heart space, moving slowly like you're moving through water. We'll let one arm pass under the other. Once you do that, bend at both elbows. Both elbows are at 90 degrees. And then we'll try to bind the forearms by bringing the fingertips to the inside of the palm. You can also just grab the wrist, hold the wrist, whatever works for you if this bind is not yet accessible. From here, we'll lift the elbows, reconnect with the breath. Take a nice deep inhale, raise the elbows a little higher, and on your exhale, we'll curl inward, bringing the elbows in toward the spine or toward the low ribs. Relax through the head and neck and take a deep breath, noticing the sensations of the breath in the upper back. Maybe letting something go on your exhale. From here, we'll root down through the sits bones to slowly curl back up. Raising the elbows, keeping that bind, and then gently releasing that bind, swimming the hands around and behind you, toward one another behind the back. Checking in with your range of motion. Very gently, slowly, mindfully bring the palms back toward one another in front of the heart space. And this time put the opposite arm underneath. Bend at the elbows. Bring your fingertips to the inside of your palm. Create friction there, create that bind. We'll lift the elbows and reconnect with the breath. On your next exhale, slowly curl inward. Elbows coming in to meet the ribs or toward the spine. Noticing what you feel and where without getting overwhelmed. Maybe repeating your mantra here. When you're ready to come out, just root down through the sits bones. Slowly curl out through the lumbar, then the thoracic, and finally the cervical spine. Lift the elbows one more time. Release that bind. Send the palms away from each other and then behind the back. And then bring the palms back together to rest on the knees or in the lap. I have a pillow under my hips, so I'm going to remove it here. You might do the same. Try to stay anchored through the sits bones, connected to the mat, feeling supported by the earth. We're just going to do a little side body stretch here. So as usual, we'll start by bringing the right hand to the outside edge of the right hip. Fingers are flipped up toward the ceiling or toward the forearm. I'm going to just rest my left hand on my left knee to kind of like gravity anchor that there. We want to keep that connection of the left hip to the mat and gently slide the right fingertips away from the body, coming down into bent elbow, maybe coming down onto the forearm. Notice what that left hip is doing. If your left knee is coming up really high, then don't bring your forearm to the mat, just bend into the elbow. Never forcing any shape. Just meeting the body where it is. When you feel anchored here, check in with the integrity of the spine. Try not to collapse through the neck. Cervical spine is a nice long extension of the rest of the spine. When you feel good about that, we'll cycle that left hand all the way up and over to hover over the right or somewhere near there. Creating a line, creating some shape, creating sensation, maybe pulling that left shoulder back and looking up toward the ceiling. Breathing all the way down into the left hip. Using your exhales to let go of anything you don't need. Good. Take your time here. When you're ready, we'll gently cycle that left hand forward and all the way back over to the left knee. pressing into the right palm to come back up through center. You can bring both hands to the knees again. We'll do the same thing on the second side. So first checking in with the connection of the hips to the mat, the integrity of your posture, your spinal alignment here. We'll flip the left fingertips up toward the ceiling and bring that left palm down to the outside of the left hip. I'm going to keep my right hand on my right knee, just to gently anchor it there and slide the left fingertips away from the body. Coming down onto the forearm or just bending into that elbow. Take a moment just to get balanced. Make sure you're maintaining that connection of right hip to earth, to mat. And when you're ready, cycle that right hand all the way up and over to hover somewhere over the left. Remember that nice long line through the right side body here. Breathe deep into that. Finding balance between ease and effort. Looking for opportunities to grow your practice, your resilience, your discipline, your strength. And then when you're ready, cycling that right hand all the way back through to the right knee, pressing into the left palm to gently come back through center. From here, we're going to roll forward onto all fours for cat-cow. I'm going to turn to center myself on my mat. You might do the same. Coming into tabletop, knees under the hips, palms under the shoulders. Sync up with the breath here. On your inhale, we'll drop the belly, lift the gaze, tail toward the ceiling, stretching through that front line of the body. Exhale, completely curl the low ribs inward to meet the spine, pressing into the lower palms, tops of the shins, tops of the feet. Sync up with your breath, move at your own pace. Continue going through those two movements. Cow pose, then cat pose. Maybe incorporate other easy organic movement here, like drawing circles with the ribs or the hips. Otherwise, just checking in with the spine. Putting your mind's eye wherever you feel sensations, just noticing. When you feel good about it, you can come back through center. We'll meet back in that neutral tabletop position. Palms under the shoulders, knees under the hip points, resting on the tops of the feet. And we're just going to challenge the balance here by sinking our weight into the right shin and left palm. Extending the right arm out in front of you, parallel to the floor. And then doing the same thing with your left leg. So just slowly creating this shape, creating this long line of energy from your fingertips through your heel. Challenging the balance a little bit, particularly core stability. Maybe engaging through your lower abdominals, supporting the spine and back body. Maybe lifting the gaze to beyond the fingertips. And when you feel good about it, bringing that right palm, left shin back to the mat. We'll do the same thing on the second side, just sinking the weight into the left shin, left foot first, and into the right palm. I'm going to extend my left arm out in front of me, parallel to the floor, and then do the same thing with my right leg. You can hold this. If you want to make it even more challenging, you can move the hand and the foot away from the body. My foot's in a plant. Creating this star shape or this four-pointed shape. Bringing it back through center. And then releasing that to the mat. Another way to further challenge the balance is by, once again, sinking the weight into that right shin, left palm, kicking up that left foot toward the ceiling, left heel toward the ceiling, bringing the right hand to the outside edge of that left foot, if it's accessible to you, and then opposing the hand and foot, pressing them up and away from the body. So you might practice this, you might practice that bird dog variation, just challenging the balance from all fours here, working on core stability, looking for opportunities to grow. When you feel good about it, go ahead and release everything to the mat. We'll try that same thing on the second side, kicking up the right foot toward the ceiling, right knee at 90 degrees, bringing the left hand to the outside edge of that right foot, and pressing both the hand and the foot up and away from the body. It can help to find a fixed focal point in your balancing poses, just to kind of ground yourself there. Again, looking for opportunities to grow. If you fall out, get right back in. And when you feel satisfied, release everything, come back to that tabletop position. From here, we're going to move into child's pose or extended child's pose by bringing the big toes into touch, sending the knees as wide as the mat, and sending the hips back toward the heels. Bringing my chest down toward the mat, forehead rests on the mat, elbows at full extension, fingertips pointed toward the top edge of the mat. Reconnect with the breath and your mantra here if you have one. I embrace my needs with compassionate self-awareness. I embrace balance with intention and grace. I look for opportunities to challenge myself and grow. Take a few more cycles of breath just to turn inward. When you're ready, you might start by opening the eyes, pressing into the fingertips to lift the elbows and then the forehead from the mat. We're going to gently walk the hands toward the body. We're going to come into a toe stand here. So to do that, you might lean forward, curl the toes under. Notice the connection of all 10 toes to the mat. Go ahead and use your hand to make that connection if you need to. And then pressing through all 10 toes, we'll just walk the hands up toward the body once again. You can bring the feet in closer together, or just keep them under the hip points, whatever works for you. We're going to try to challenge the balance here by bringing palms together in front of the heart space. If that's totally inaccessible, you might keep your fingertips on the mat or on top of a block or prop here. If you fall out of this toe stand, go ahead and get right back in it. Okay, so from here we're going to move through a series of balancing poses of varying degrees of difficulty depending on your perspective. So when you've mastered this toe stand, we're going to move from this toe stand right up to Tadasana, mountain pose. So we're going to try to do that just by extending straight up through the knees and hips. If you lose your balance, go ahead and try again. We have time to practice. All right, here we go. I'm going to extend through my knees and hips, coming all the way up to full extension, letting my heels rest on the body. I'll release the hands to the outside of the hips. Maybe take a mudra with the fingers, maybe close your eyes. Reconnect with the breath. If that was challenging, practice a couple more times. From here, I'm going to move into a tree pose. So I'm going to use my hand to assist my left foot, bringing it to the inside edge of the right thigh. Once I get that and found my balance, again, find a fixed focal point on the floor if you need to. Then we might bring palms together at the heart space or extend the arms all the way up and overhead, really reaching, branching out, taking up space, getting longer. If you fall out, get right back in it. From here, we're going to move into a warrior three by releasing that left foot, keeping it in the air off the mat, and then extending it directly behind us. At the same time, I'm sending my fingertips forward toward the top edge of the mat. So my torso and left leg are parallel to the ground. So that was tree to warrior three. If you fall out, go ahead and practice, get right back in it. If you're ready to continue, we're going to move from warrior three into a warrior two. So to do that, I'm going to keep that left leg lifted, bend into the left knee, bring it forward in front of the body, and take a big step forward. From here, I'll pivot on the back foot, so my right foot is kind of pointing toward the right side of the mat. Sink down deep into that left knee and then open up through the chest, arms parallel to the floor, sinking deeper into that knee. Looking beyond the left fingertips. Good. From here, let's cycle the hands down to frame that left foot, bringing the fingertips to the mat. Pivot on the back foot, so all 10 toes are pointing forward. And then we're going to move into a plank pose, sending that left foot back to meet the right. Holding that pose, finding your balance here. Reconnecting with the breath. Remembering your mantra. And then we'll release both knees to the mat. Let's come back into that child's pose or extended child's pose. We'll take a second here just to catch our breath. And what we do to one side, we'll do to the other. Let's start by pressing into the fingertips, lifting the forehead and elbows off the mat. We're going to walk the hands toward the body and then curl the toes under. Noticing the connection of all 10 toes to the mat, putting your mind's eye there or using your hands to adjust. Okay, you might heel toe your feet closer together to be under the hip points, or whatever helps you balance here. You can either keep your fingertips on the mat, or maybe bring palms together at the heart space. If this is challenging, take your time getting there. From here, we're going to extend through the knees and hips, coming all the way up to Tadasana, or mountain pose. Releasing the heels to the mat. Releasing the hands to the outside edges of the hips, maybe taking a mudra with the fingers. Opening up through the chest, reconnecting with the breath. Good. This time we'll bring the right foot to the inside edge of the left thigh. Go ahead and use your hand to guide it there if you need to. These are the worst pants for this pose. Once you get it there, open up that right knee toward the right. Maybe bring palms together at the heart space. Maybe send the arms all the way up and overhead for tree pose. Emulating the tree, embodying the tree. And we're going to send that right foot back for warrior three. So just extending my right knee, Bring my right heel back behind me. Arms forward, fingertips facing or pointing toward the top edge of the mat. Torso parallel to the mat. Building stability through the leg, through the hips, through the core. We're going to come from here into a warrior two. So slowly and with control, get right back in it if you fall out. We're going to bend into that right knee and bring it forward. Take a big step with that right foot, bringing the right toes up toward the top edge of the mat. We'll pivot on the back foot, so the left foot is facing the left side of the mat. Bend deep into that right knee. Bring the arms parallel to the mat. Sinking down into that warrior two on the second side. From here, we'll cycle the hands down, frame that right foot. Send that right foot back for plank. And we're going to hold this balancing pose, building strength, finding your focus, maintaining integrity in your body, your posture. So nice long line from the crown of the head through the heels. Looking for opportunities to grow. And then reconnecting with the breath as you bend into both knees, releasing them to the mat. We'll take one more child's pose or extended child's pose. Once again, just to catch your breath. Turn inward. Come back to the breath, come back to your mantra or affirmation. Reground yourself. Notice the connections of your body to the mat. Feel good about what you've just accomplished in the flow, and prepare to continue challenging yourself. You might open your eyes if you've closed them. Gently lift the forehead from the mat, maybe the fingertips if you're in extended child's pose. I'm just going to come all the way up to kneeling. And from here, we're going to practice a side plank. So we're going to go through this slowly and with intention, and if it's totally inaccessible to you, we're going to practice a supported version of this immediately after, so don't get discouraged. This pose requires some upper body strength and stability, and it does challenge the balance. So to get there, we're first going to walk the hands out, coming into a traditional plank pose. Extending through the left knee, then the right. Finding integrity through the spine and the hips. From here, I'm going to shift my balance to the right palm, so you can move your right palm to the midline of the mat first, if that's helpful. And I'm literally just going to come onto the outside edge of my right foot, stack my left foot on top while my left fingertips are still here on the mat, and then slowly drag my left fingertips across the body and up toward the ceiling. So this pose will challenge your balance. You can see it's challenging mine right now. I'm shaking. If you fall out of it, get right back in it. If you're really struggling, don't get discouraged. Look for opportunities to grow. If you're in it, make sure you're in this nice long line all the way through the spine, through the hips. You might also extend your hand toward the top edge of the mat, or keep it up toward the ceiling. Good, take your time there. When you're ready, come out with intention, Slowly and mindfully, you might bring your knees to the mat to take a break. And we're going to do the same thing on the second side. So take your time here. If you want to keep trying on that side or challenging the balance on that side, feel free. Otherwise, we'll shift to that second side by bringing the left palm somewhere near the midline of the mat. Extending through both knees. I'm going to come onto the outside edge of my left foot this time, keeping my right fingertips on the mat. I'll stack my right foot on top, and then slowly drag my right fingertips across the body and up toward the ceiling. It's just practice. If you fall out, get right back in it. That's the point. Looking for opportunities for growth and development, finding balance. Take as much time as you want there. Maybe go back to the first side and try again. Be playful and curious on your mat. Remember, this is your practice, so make it your own. Don't be afraid to have fun with it. All right, I'm going to try one more time on this side. And then we'll come back to that tabletop position. And now we're going to try the supported version of this pose. So if that one was totally inaccessible to you, we will try another way. So I'm going to turn to face you, and I'm just kneeling. So I'm on my shins and the tops of my feet here in the middle of my mat. I'm going to start by bringing my hands to my hips and extending my left leg outward to the left away from the body. So we're going to transition between gate pose and the supported plank pose. So I'm going to start by bringing my left hand to the outside edge of my left thigh and then just sending my fingertips down toward my ankle or heel, cycling that right hand all the way up and over for a big side body stretch, maybe looking up toward the ceiling, pulling that right shoulder back. From here, I'm going to cycle the right hand the other way, all the way back down to the mat on the right side, bringing my palm to the mat, sending left fingertips up and overhead, maybe beyond the top edge of the mat. Again, creating this long line. So I'm just supported by the shin, by the right leg as the foundation here. And let's just move between those a couple of times. So I'm going to cycle that left hand back up and over, pressing up off the right palm. Left hand comes to the outside edge of the left leg. Right hand comes up and over, sending the left fingertips down toward the ankle, toward the foot, pulling that right shoulder open. Good, swim that right hand all the way up and over one more time, bringing it down to the mat under the right shoulder. Same thing with the left, up and over like sunrise and sunset, creating this nice long line through the left side body. Feel free to move through that a couple of times at your own pace. Noticing what you feel and where. Maybe noticing how your balance is still being challenged. And then when you feel good about it, we'll come back through center. You can go ahead and bring the hands back to the hips. Bring that left knee in to meet the right. We're keeping them about hip width apart. We'll do the same thing on the second side. So I'm going to start by extending my right leg out to the right, pressing it to the outside edge of my right foot here. I'm going to bring my right hand to the outside edge of the right thigh, and as my right fingertips move toward my right foot, my left hand will cycle all the way up and over to hover somewhere over that right foot also. Maybe pulling the left shoulder back here, looking up toward the ceiling. And then coming into that supported side plank on the second side, cycling the left hand all the way up and over, bringing it down to the mat, putting my weight into that left palm, cycling the right hand up and over. Creating that nice long line through the right fingertips, all the way down through the right heel. Good, move at your own pace, transitioning through these poses. Noticing what you feel and where. Moving slowly and with intention. Staying connected to your mantra. And then when you're ready, slowly, gently, mindfully coming back through center. Bringing that right knee back in to meet the left. From here, we're going to turn to center ourselves on the mat. And before we move into your final meditation, we're just going to finish off with a little crow pose practice. So we haven't done this in a while, but we have done it. It's essentially a tip up. If this is totally inaccessible to you today, you can also practice a tripod headstand. So just stacking your knees on top of your elbows with your head pressing onto the mat. But for crow pose, we're going to plant the palms about shoulder width apart. Rotate the fingertips slightly away from one another. We'll curl the toes under, lift the knees off the mat, walk the feet up toward the palms. And then from here, I'm going to bend into my elbows, bring my knees up toward my armpits, and then rest my knees on my triceps. Find balance by leaning forward just a bit, and then 1 foot at a time, we'll lift them off the mat. So if you fall out, which you probably will, I do all the time, just get right back in it by going through those same steps again. So leaning forward, knees coming up to the armpit chest, 1 foot at a time off the mat. Again, if this is totally inaccessible to you today, you can just bring the top of the head to the mat, palms to the mat. Walk your feet up toward your hands and then rest your knees on top of your elbows, pointing your toes toward the ceiling. So practicing your tripod headstand, warrior crow pose. Challenging the balance, looking for opportunities for growth. And then eventually coming back into your final meditative posture of the day. So when you feel good about that, you're ready to wind down. We'll either come back to our child's pose, our extended child's pose, or Shavasana for your final meditation to close out the practice. So take your time getting there. Feel free to continue exploring in crow or any other balancing pose or easy organic movement you need before winding down. I'm coming into Shavasana, so I'm going to let my palms fall open to the left and the right. Feel free to put a pillow under your head or neck or low back. Tailor your practice according to your needs. Approach your needs with compassionate self-awareness. Remind your body that you are in control and it's okay to relax. Reconnect with the breath and start to absorb some of the nutrients and experiential knowledge of today's practice. Give yourself permission to reconnect with the self, to approach balance with intention and grace, to recognize and honor your own needs, to recognize and honor how lack of balance or imbalance can disrupt many parts of our being. Give yourself permission to let go of what you don't need. Take a few more moments just to quietly turn inward, to still the mind, to notice what's distracting you, what's knocking you off balance, to identify those things and to let them go. Take advantage of this beautiful bubble of self-care you've created on your mat. I would encourage you just to continue your meditation here after the class ends. Try to settle in a little bit deeper, understand that rest is rejuvenation, rest is necessary. I'm going to bring my palms together to rest gently between the eyebrows or at the space indicating the third eye. Feel free to join me there if it feels right, or just stay where you are. Before we close the practice, I want to recognize that I'm leading today's practice from former Monongahela and Osage territories. I encourage you to find out whose indigenous lands you're practicing from, and most importantly, how you can support their ongoing struggle for liberation. Yoga is an ancient spiritual practice that comes from India and Indian culture, so we respect and honor that cultural heritage without appropriation. We also recognize that yoga functions in many ways for many people of the world, including as a community. Thank you so much for being part of my community today. I hope you got something you needed here today, and I hope to see you again soon. Namaste.